Yo, what is up, guys? It's Cone back here again today with another video. A lot of my videos recently have been about the trade deadline, which is coming up very quickly. It's only 2 days away now as you're seeing this video. I'm hoping that a lot of stuff ends up happening. I might drop a trade deadline prediction video tomorrow, making my official picks where I think guys are going to end up. Since the NBA does most of its trades on the deadline day anyways, I don't think too much will be done today or tomorrow. I think most of it happens on Thursday. So if you want to see that video, let me know in the comment section below. But for today, I kind of want to make a shift from the trade deadline talk, and I want to focus more on award races, particularly one award race, and that is the Most Improved Player Award. We've seen a lot of coverage, a lot of people talking about the MVP award, which makes sense. It is the biggest award in a lot of people's eyes, in my eyes too. Joel Embiid and LeBron James, two of the leading candidates, are out right now for a significant amount of time, so that leads to players like Jokic, Damian Lillard, Giannis, James Harden, guys like that are really building their MVP cases. And so it's a hotly contested award. No one's really sure who's going to win it yet, which I think is really cool. And I think Most Improved Player is a similar boat. There's a ton of great candidates that could all win it. I think there's about 4 in my mind that could win it. In this video, I'm going to talk to you mainly about one, though. He is my favorite player. I'm going to preface that. And the fact that I am a Thunder fan, if you can't tell from the big Thunder flag in the background or the Thunder jersey I'm wearing. I'm a huge Thunder fan, and the player I think that right now is not getting nearly enough attention in the Most Improved Player race is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now, maybe that's because last season he was pretty good, put up 19 points per game. I'll get into all of his stats in a second, but he was a solid option. He ended up being the leading scorer on our team, the team that kind of shocked the world, made the playoffs, pushed the Rockets to 7 games. They were a great squad, and SGA was a huge part of that. And due to that, he was in consideration for at least the first half of the season. He was really in consideration for the Most Improved Player award, but it ended up going to Brandon Ingram. Bam Adebayo was right there close behind him, but it did end up going to Ingram. And so I think that might be part of why he's not getting as much attention. Maybe it's because he plays in Oklahoma City as well. But none of people are talking about him. I think the other 3 guys that could win this award are Christian Wood, Jeremy Grant, and Julius Randle. So I'm going to talk about those 3 at the end of the video to kind of compare Shai to them. But I'm going to start with Shai's case. And if you think that I'm super biased as a Thunder fan and you think I'm dumb, go ahead, click off the video now. But you're going to miss a pretty good argument, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and start off by giving you his stats from last season to this season, as is customary for Most Improved Player candidates. That's typically what a lot of people look at. I think there's a lot more beyond that, which I'll get into, but I'll just start with the stats. So last season, in 34.7 minutes per game, Shai put up 19 points per game, 5.9 rebounds, 3.3 assists, 1.1 steals, and he shot 47.1% from the field, 34.7% from 3, and 80.7% from the free throw line. Hope you got all that. Now, in this season, 2020 to 2021, in 33.7 minutes per game, he's averaging 23.7 points per game, which is a 4.7 point per game jump, 4.7 rebounds, which is down about a rebound, 5.9 assists, which is about up 2.6 assists, 0.8 steals, which is about down 0.3 steals, and the big jump is his efficiency in addition to his points. 50.8% from the field, which is a 3% increase, almost 4%, 41.8% from 3, which is a 7.1% increase, and just a 0.1% jump from the free throw line, shooting 80.8%. I know that was a lot of numbers. I hope you got all that. But basically, the biggest improvements there, if you listen to what I said, is his scoring and efficiency. Those are his biggest jumps this season. Shai is averaging 4.7 more points per game, and he's only shooting 1.6 more times a game. So he's finding 4.7 more points on just 1.5 shots a game more than he did last season. This is also on, like I said, much improved efficiency. Shai has a true shooting percentage of 62.3. If you don't know what true shooting is, it's basically a statistic that finds a way to evenly rank shooting from different spots on the floor, free throw line, 2-point range, 3-point range, different aspects of it, and it's a really good stat to measure a player's true shooting, as the stat says. And that true shooting of 62.3% is top 10 in the league among players who shoot as much as him or more. He's 0.1%, a tenth of a percent behind James Harden and Kyrie Irving in that stat, 2 of the best offensive players in the entire league. And he's just 0.4%, 0.4% lower than Giannis, the 2-time MVP, and a guy that a lot of people consider just a guy who runs and dunks. So he would be super efficient, right? Yeah, because all those guys are, and SGA is right behind them. He's quickly become one of the most dynamic scorers in the NBA, as his offensive game goes way beyond the numbers. If you watch him, when SGA is on the court, teams prioritize the hell out of guarding him. Specifically, I could talk about the other day when we played the Atlanta Hawks, a game that we did end up losing, but the Hawks would pack the paint because SGA murdered them last time we played, and so they would send 3, 4 defenders to close off those driving lanes for Shai. They're throwing him double teams out there. The Lakers did that about a month ago when we played them. They would throw double teams at Shai, one of which Shai just spun around and got to the rim anyways. Teams game plan for SGA because of how good he is, as well as the fact that the Thunder don't have many options outside of him. Last season, we had Chris Paul, Danilo Gallinari, Steven Adams, Dennis Schroeder, all these different guys that Shai could get the ball to, and now we don't have those options. Without Chris Paul, Shai is having to take a lot tougher shots. He's having to create all these shots for himself, as Chris Paul is one of the best creators of shots for other players in the entire NBA, in league history even. Danilo Gallinari took a lot of pressure off of him because Shai didn't get nearly as much attention because if they left Gallo wide open on the three-point line, he was going to make them pay. Dennis Schroeder was another force attacking the rim, and he was able to drive to the rim and kick out to Shai to get him more opportunities as well, or him and Shai could run a two-man game. Shai doesn't have that luxury this season. And so, losing out on all of those assets that he had last season on the offensive end of the ball, the fact that teams are double teaming him, the fact that teams are able to game plan for him more, it should theoretically result in decreased efficiency and be a disaster for a young player trying to find his footing in the league. However, for Shai, it has been the exact opposite, and teams have not been able to figure him out. He's putting up incredibly efficient numbers. He gets to the rim so easily. He's slithery, I guess is the best word to use for him. It's almost like Paul George-esque, the way he dribbles so slowly and then makes all that sudden burst to the rim. He's improved at drawing free throws. His three-point shooting percentage has become way above league average, and it's become infinitely more lethal due to his addition of a very smooth step back three that if you have seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and it falls more often than not. That's not something he had in his game last season. We would see it every now and again, but now he's shooting it a lot of the time in rhythm at the end of the shot clock, and it's going in. He shoots 55% from the field on drives and 51.5% after 3 or more dribbles, which means that he's getting to the rim and he's finishing, and he's dribbling and isoing, and he's getting the shot up that he wants to get and doing it super efficiently. People aren't creating shots for him, it's all him. And among the 11 players who shoot 5 or more 2-point shots per game that involve them holding the ball for 6 or more seconds, which means usually they're isolating or that they are trying to create the shot for themselves, Shai is the most efficient scorer. There's no qualifiers there. He is the most efficient scorer. That's according to 538 from an article they made about a week ago. He also leads the league in the percentage of his 2-point shots that are unassisted. So like I mentioned with the Chris Paul thing, Shai's not getting the ball from anyone else. He is making things happen on his own. He's really lacking in weapons around him, other playmakers. He's making things happen. He's also the second most efficient pick and roll scorer in the entire league behind Steph Curry. Which, if you're in company of Steph Curry offensively, that's huge. A lot of times he makes defenders look silly, and he makes the toughest finishes look easy. If you watch him play, which is really what a lot of this comes down to, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. Shai makes guys look silly all the time. Step back jumpers, pull-up, hesitations, spin moves, the craziest finger roll layups that you'll ever see, crazy scoops. He's just incredible. I think the unfortunate part is that just not everyone watches him play offensively, which I think if you're not watching him play offensively, or just watching him play at all, you're really robbing yourself of some great basketball. I think a lot of that comes to the fact that OKC has only had one nationally televised game all season, and in that game, Shai did not play. It was a game that he ended up resting in, which we've done every now and again this season. So that's the big case offensively. We could also talk about his playmaking. Shai has sets up his teammates incredibly well. He's really gifted in the pick and roll. If you watch him, his ability to dish the ball to the pick and roll partner, whoever's rolling to the basket, is incredible. He makes really difficult passes look simple. He has a really good kind of side bounce pass through 2 defenders that can get to the roll man. It's not often though that his pick and roll partners finish that, mainly because he doesn't have a lot of threats to really attack the rim. His biggest threats are Isaiah Roby and Al Horford, who are more undersized for centers. So he doesn't quite have that yet. Moses Brown maybe could potentially become that dangerous pick and roll partner, maybe catching more lobs for SGA, giving him more options. But for right now, he doesn't have that really reliable pick and roll partner a lot of the time. But he's also so good at driving to the rim and dishing to a teammate out in the arc when the defense collapses on him. SGA not only finds a way to get the ball up and onto the rim in the craziest traffic, but he finds ways to get the ball out to the perimeter with 12 defenders around him. It's unreal. And his assist numbers, he's only averaging, like I said, 5.9 per game, which doesn't seem like a lot, but I promise you he gets a lot more opportunity, or his teammates get a lot more opportunities to give him assists than assists he gets. And his assist numbers are going to skyrocket when his supporting cast improves. Right now, I believe we statistically have the worst spacing in the NBA. We just can't shoot very well. It's improved recently post All-Star break, so we'll see if that continues. But for right now, you just kind of have to watch him play to get a sense of truly how good he is in the playmaking aspect. Additionally, his defense is something a lot of people clowned him on for in the Rocket series. He's been really solid in the defensive end. He had a game-winning block against Juancho Hernan-Gomez yesterday against the Minnesota Timberwolves. If you didn't watch that, go see it. He's been really solid on that end of the ball. And overall, he's just gone from one of many options on last season's OKC team to the franchise centerpiece. I think SGA is unquestionably our franchise cornerstone going forward. He's led a Thunder team which was perceived by many, even Thunder fans, even me, predicted at the beginning of the season that we were going to be a bottom of the barrel team. Given I did think we were going to make trades sooner, but I thought we were going to be really, really bad. And right now we're sitting 2.5 games out of the play-in tournament. If this Thunder team doesn't blow up too heavily, heck, even if we do blow up a lot, if we keep like Al Horford and trade a guy like George Hill and Mike Muscala, two guys who aren't even playing right now anyways. We've been sitting George Hill for a while with an injury, and I think because we want to keep him healthy for that trade, as well as Mike Muscala because I think we're trading him. I think the reason that's why he's been sitting. We've kind of wanted to see what Moses Brown, Pokuševski, Isaiah Roby, those front court members have in the tank. And so we've been sitting guys like Horford and Muscala, and we've still been winning games. So even if we do deal guys, we might still win. And there's a high potential that this team ends up in the play-in tournament, which is probably not what Sam Presti wants, trying to tank. But it just proves how good Shai is. We physically cannot tank because of him. He's a star, and I think he should have been an all-star this season, and that is my case for him as the most improved player. All of those things I just talked about. Now, I will talk about his competition real quick. I'm not going to focus on this too long because this video is already getting longer than I thought it was going to be, but his main competition includes guys like Christian Wood and Jeremy Grant. Those are two of the guys, and to be fair to those two guys, they have been amazing this season. They are two guys who I think could win the award. I believe I picked Jeremy Grant at my midseason awards, but their increased production is heavily tied to the fact that they're both shooting about twice as much this season. And that's not to say that that's not a sign of improvement. The reason they're getting more shots is because they have been better. They've both been really good this season. But that increased production is a lot due to just the increased, what's the word I'm looking for? Their increased volume. Like I mentioned, SGA is only shooting 1.5 more times per game. These guys are shooting literally double. Like, that's not an exaggeration. Double the times per game that they shot last season. Like I said, they've both been very, very good. They're both deserving candidates. I just don't think that they quite make their teammates as better as Shai does. Shai makes his teammates really, really good. There are so many players on this Thunder team that are having breakout seasons, and SGA is a big part of that. The way he elevates his teammates is also a huge reason why I think he deserves to be in this conversation. So, Wood, Grant, both deserving candidates, but I'm taking Shai. Another name you could talk about, and who I think right now, if I had to make a pick other than Shai, would be my pick, is Julius Randle. Now, Randle's been phenomenal this season. He's taken the Knicks to a 21-22 record this season, which is much better than Knicks teams have been recently, even if that's not an incredible record, and he made his first All-Star game. I love Julius Randle. I love watching him play. He's doing really, really well. He's putting up career highs, too, in points, rebounds, assists, and three-point percentage, which is a lot. He's doing incredibly well, so he's very, very deserving of the award. The only reservation I have is that he already had a pretty decent season in New Orleans, not last season, but the season before, where he put up just like 2 less points per game than he is now, just 2.3 rebounds less, although that nearly wasn't as impactful as he is now. It didn't translate into nearly as many wins. It was kind of more empty stats than the winning basketball he's been playing in New York. He is also, his playmaking is the huge thing I think that has really improved. He's averaging 2.9 more assists this year than he ever has before. So he's obviously much better than he was that season. That's just my one reservation with him. I think he is an incredible candidate with very few flaws. Similar to Grant and Wood, they're all deserving guys. And like I said, if I had to give the guy or some guy an award other than SGA, I'd probably give it to Julius Randle. He's been really, really good. I wanted to give him a shout out at the end of this video. However, I do think SGA is the guy. Yes, am I biased? Yeah, I'm biased. I acknowledge that, and I get that. But I also watch a lot of these players. I've watched a lot of these games. Now, I haven't watched all of them like I've watched every Thunder game, just because I don't really have time for that. But I just think Shai isn't getting nearly as much love as he should be getting for this award race. Even if he doesn't win, I've been blown away with his play this season, and he's continuously shown an ability to get better every season. And I think that says a lot to his ability to be our franchise cornerstone for the future. I just would love to see him get that recognition after he didn't get it for being an all-star. I think he should have been an all-star, but things happen. The West is tough. There are some guys I think he could have gotten it over, but that's a topic for a different video. So this was my case for SJ to be the most improved player. I do want to give a shout once again to those other candidates. All really good. I think this is going to be a super tight race, and I'm excited to see how it finishes up. So let me know what you thought of this. Let me know what you think of Shai as a candidate. If you have got to the end of this video, say that SJ is the most improved player in the comment section below to help me push the propaganda that I'm pushing to you now, and I will see you guys later. Everyone, say it back.